Hi, welcome back to our podcast. I'm Lana and my co-host.
I'm Sara Lyman.
Today, Sara is going to introduce our guest, and we're going to talk everything from real estate, lifestyles, everything in between. So, Sara, who do we have today?
I'm so excited today to have my good friend Mark Monette, who has come out here from the North Quabbin. He is with Quality Pest. You are the owner, correct?
Correct.
And you're going to tell us about all the creepy crawlies that we need to know about when it comes to real estate.
We're talking bugs today.
Bugs and
rodents.
mice and rats and all that.
Oh,
yes.
little critters. Love it. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start by just asking, what is your craziest story? Like, what's either an animal or something that you were like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this is happening?
Well, I think the craziest one would be, it's gross, but it's bed bugs.
Mm-hmm.
What?
It's not.
We're talking bed bugs today too?
Well, we don't have to talk much about that.
No, we do, because we need to know about that. I mean, sometimes if you've ever gone into a house that has bed bugs, like as an agent, we need to know how not to bring these things home with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so tell me what's the worst story. Tell us the story first.
It was actually in Worcester. It's kind of a sad story because it's a duplex, and the son, adult son, but he had some mental issues, and he basically stayed in his room the whole time. Like, he really didn't come out of his room. And then there was a social worker there that when they were talking with him, they saw some bed bugs. And the social worker hadn't been in the room, but noticed some bed bugs. So they called us out for an inspection. And we went in the bedroom, and I mean, bed bugs just everywhere.
Wait a minute. I thought you can't see a bed.
No, you can. The adult bed bugs, they're about the size of an apple seed. They're reddish brown, kind of flat. They're very visible. Then the nymphs, or the baby ones, they're very, very tiny.
So now Lana knows what she has to look for if you go to a hotel that maybe isn't up to par.
It's always good to check.
It is.
When you're
now,
on
if
vacation.
you open up, when you said you saw them everywhere.
Yeah.
They're crawling around the floor? They're crawling along what?
Well, in a normal situation, you kind of have to look for them. You have to look at the mattress seams, the box spring, because they hide during the day. But this one was so severe that they were all over the room. Like, they were lined up along the wall where it meets the ceiling. They were just crawling up and down the wall. It was.
What do they feed on?
People, blood.
Okay. So if you open up a sheet, you're not going to see them scurrying around?
If it's a severe case, you would. If it's a minor situation, there are a few there, you probably wouldn't. They could be hiding in the tufts of the mattress or under the box spring. So when we do an inspection, it's very detailed. We have to flip the mattress up, flip the box spring up, look everywhere. It's an extremely thorough treatment to get. You have to get all of them. If you leave a few behind, the problem continues.
Do they stick onto you when you leave the house?
They can crawl onto you, and you can bring them home. Fortunately, I've never done that. One time in a bad situation, I was in my truck later in the afternoon, and I saw a bed bug on my pant leg that I picked up. So that was not fun.
It's like looking for ticks.
It is, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, but they multiply a lot quicker than ticks.
They do.
You don't want to take them home.
No.
In this situation, the boy he was very organized. He had shoes just lined up under the bed, and the bed bugs they were all over the shoes. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are times in our job that we see things that are really, really hard and that are difficult. And I imagine it's the same.
That was a difficult situation.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, other bugs. Let's move on. What do you think one of the number 1 or 2 bugs are in our area? Now, we're in Massachusetts.
Right.
We're in Quabbin area. I'm northern Worcester County.
Yeah.
What do you see generally?
One of the biggest thing is ants. carpenter
Okay.
ants, pavement ants.
We picked.
Pavement ants like the little sugar ants.
Yeah. What kind of damage do they do?
Carpenter ants can do a lot of damage. A lot of times it's an area that has some water damage.
Okay.
Not always, though. They're very adaptable. They'll nest under a tub void or in a wall or in an attic. They're not always doing damage, but if they find some wet wood, that's where they go.
Okay.
What's the most extensive carpenter ant damage you've seen in a property?
Well, let's see. I've seen damage to basement sills. It's usually where the deck area is. Oftentimes it's not flashed correctly.
Yeah.
And the water gets in behind there. And I've seen, I think it was probably 8 or 10 feet of a sill that was just pretty much gone. But it started out as a water issue.
Okay.
And then the ants found it.
What about the wasps?
Yeah.
I see that, or bees.
Mark was just out at my house treating for wasps.
Really? Because I've seen them bury, like I
under the vinyl siding. That's why we had to have them come in.
Yeah.
Was there a lot?
Your house was, well, you had a paper wasp nest by the deck, and then you had the yellow jackets were going in up in the dormer, which there was a big nest up there, which it wasn't visible. They were actually inside.
But you could see them swarming.
You can see them swarming around and flying in and out. This time of year it's huge for especially yellow jackets, bald-faced hornets. I just had 2 calls this morning, new calls come in.
So when we think about carpenter ants and we think about the wasps, I know you've also been out to my old house to treat for wood boring bees.
Right.
What are how should people prepare for this? What should they just do it spring? Should they do it monthly? Should they do it in the fall? And what does that look like for homeowners?
Yeah, I mean, preventative for insects, I usually recommend twice a year. It's a semi-annual plan. Spring, so it's either April or May, depending on the weather, and then August or September.
Okay.
If it's just insect issues, really in New England, twice a year is fine.
Okay.
Obviously in the South, you need a monthly service just because. But here, I mean, April through November or up to November is insect season, and then they're pretty much dormant.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 exterior sprays. I do a foundation spray around doors and windows, eaves. Just keeps everything away for the season and keeps things from getting into overwinter.
Mm-hmm.
So you brought up the South real quick.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Lana and I were talking about that we had to ask you about was termites.
Yeah.
Because for so long, and I think so many real estate agents think, oh, yeah, you're not going to have a termite problem here in New England. But I've been to multiple properties where I've seen termite traps, and I've had 2 inspections in my 2 decades doing this job that have turned up termites. So how does that look different up north versus down south?
I mean, the termite numbers certainly aren't what they are in the South. Once it gets cold in New England, the termites, they go dormant. They go down below the frost line. And once it warms up, usually in May, they'll come up and they get active again. But yeah, like you said, people, they don't expect termites in this area. But even with the old company I worked for, we were in New Hampshire doing termites. Basically about the middle of New Hampshire is the cutoff line. Once you get above that, they could still be there, but it's kind of rare.
Interesting.
But Massachusetts certainly has plenty. It's more than people think.
And again, that's a treatment for twice a year, you're thinking?
That's a completely different thing.
Oh.
If it's active and we find termites, it's a liquid treatment around the perimeter. We need to put the chemical near the foundation, and then we put bait stations around the whole perimeter of the house. It's an extensive treatment. It's usually, fairly costly. And it's, we warranty it for a year. And then we check the stations 3 times a year. But it's.
Can you get rid of termites?
Oh,
once they're
yeah.
there? Okay.
Yep. The products that are out there now are fabulous.
Okay.
Usually one treatment will get rid of most of the colony. It takes a little time. They have to pick it up and bring it back to where they're coming from. But
the damage is significantly more with termites than with carpenter ants, correct?
it is. The problem with termites, I mean, they're a lot smaller than carpenter ants, but their numbers are massive. There's thousands and thousands.
Interesting.
And termites will actually digest the wood, the cellulose in the wood, whereas carpenter ants, they'll tunnel it out, but they're not actually eating it. Yeah. So in the termites, people don't see them because they're in the ground. They're coming up a crack in the foundation, or they're coming up. They make little mud tubes. You know, I'm sure you've seen those. Yes. They look like the width of a pencil.
Yes.
If it's a foundation with cinder blocks, hollow cinder blocks, sometimes they come up at the middle of those.
Sure.
They're doing damage. And oftentimes it's not until somebody's there, contractors doing work, they open something up and they find them. So it's like with carpenter ants, you'll see them walking around. So you know you might have an issue. But with termites, they're hidden.
Yeah. Is there another bug species that makes the tunnels, that makes the pencil-like? How did you just refer
mud
to
tubes?
It?
Mud tubes.
Mud wasps?
Oh, there's a mud wasp, which they make it's basically like little clumps of mud, but they don't do any damage.
So anytime we see a tube like that, it could potentially be.
It could be termites.
Termites. Interesting.
Usually what I'll do is I'll just break it open. If it's active, you'll see the termites running up and down.
And how often a year do you think you get called for termites? On average?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's not much.
But it's here.
It's here.
It's here. But it's not like down south where you put a tent around the whole house.
No, there's no, that's the South is, it's a different species of termites. The ones we have here are subterranean. They have drywood termites down there, which they go from the basement right up to the attic. But it's a different treatment. You know, it's a liquid treatment here. There's no tenting or anything.
All right. So I need to ask a question because I sold a house to a family member. It's even worse, right? Hey, buy this house. You're going to love it. So we did an inspection, but there was the finished basement, and there's mice poop and urine all over the ceiling.
Yeah.
So we had suits on and we took all the ceiling stuff down, and there was more, stuff. So it's like they must have been nesting for years.
Yes.
For a long time, yeah.
The smell is still in the house because the mice are still there. Can you ever mice are everywhere. Can you actually get mice gone from a house?
It's hard to completely exclude them in a lot of houses, especially older houses.
Okay.
This
is not a super old house.
I mean, you're talking a hole smaller than a dime, that a mouse can squeeze into.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
It
right.
is.
So think about this. You're thinking, I don't understand older homes because of fieldstone foundation and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking like a 1980s house with concrete, poured. Yep. And they are literally still there and ripped at everything. So you're almost making it like your home is gone, right? We get rid of everything.
Right.
And they're outside, you see all these little holes, and I thought it was moles. It's tunnels for mice.
It could be voles too. I don't see a lot of tunnels for mice.
Okay.
Mice they'll find a little gap sometimes on a corner or a foundation comes together.
Basement windows, garage doorways.
Garage doors are huge.
Garage doors are huge.
It's we do exclusion, but it's tough to find every little opening.
Would I call that infestation at that point, or no?
It sounds like it.
Can they be completely gone?
Yeah, I mean, we use bait stations and traps basically to clean out what's in there, seal up openings. Houses that have regular mouse issues or major mouse issues, we usually do a quarterly instead of a semi-annual because the twice a year is really not enough to keep up with mice.
Right. Twice a year is more like you get the mice are coming in, right? And it's just a treatment because you live in the woods.
Yeah.
Right?
But this one, it sounds like they have to come in and, like Mark was saying, like seal and really go through and make sure that they can stop getting in.
Yeah.
Because he was
first
saying,
and then get
I
rid of
think
them.
what happens sometimes is the mice get used to that place, right?
They do.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And they leave kind of like not a scent, but other mice
Oh,
scents.
right.
You know, so they
Right.
follow the
Bring their
same areas
friends.
all the time.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've gone from
Yeah, bugs.
to mice, what other mammals or critters do you see in houses?
Rats have become a huge issue.
No way.
Well, yes.
No
We
way.
know.
Well, listen, I think we're not in a city, right? So I think of rats in cities
In
because there's
Boston,
trash and blah, blah, blah.
The rat population in the last 5 years has exploded.
Exploded.
It has.
The rat population. I honestly have never seen a rat.
Okay. So we're talking like little teeny tiny mouse.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're talking like
How
rat?
big?
A rat, the body, 8-9 inches. And then the tail is about that long.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Where do they live? Where are they? What's happening? Why
Well-
are they exploding?
Well, I think some of it is after COVID. A lot of restaurants, places like that were closed, especially in the cities. Rats were used to feeding on dumpsters and things like that. And places shut down, and rats, they are super, super intelligent, and they will find a food source. And they've been moving out of the cities. People that have chicken coops, compost piles, they're rat magnets, especially chicken coops.
chicken coops.
Chicken coops.
What do they eat?
They eat the grain.
Oh.
And they'll actually tunnel and live right under the chicken coop. And then they've got, they have shelter and a food source. And
When you say it's exploding, so you never find one rat. If you see a rat, how many rats are you anticipating?
there have been houses, people have said we saw a rat, and I've taken like 25 rats out of the basement.
And for all of you that are intrigued by this conversation, you need to follow this man on Facebook because every once in a while he will post pictures and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me? 25. All right. Woo. This is how.
Do they like get into the walls of houses? I
They
didn't mean to
do.
interrupt you, but
They do.
oh my God.
Some of the bigger situations I've seen, the bigger problems are people that have a dirt cellar, a dirt floor,
Yes.
or a crawl space.
That's it.
Hello,
my
New
buyers,
England.
my
Hello,
buyers
New
are going to be
England.
like, no dirt floor, please. So dirt. Oh, of course they can tunnel.
They tunnel.
They tunnel.
From the outside in.
Oh,
Maybe those were the tunnels you saw at your family's property.
Stop
not
it.
mice.
Stop it. No. Oh my goodness. All right. So wait a minute. I'm thinking, wait, this is interesting. So, rats. Okay. What if a buyer's going into a property? I'm going to use an older style home because I feel like it's easier to get into.
Mm-hmm.
What is a sign that there's potential rat or rats?
You'll see burrows oftentimes on the outside of the house. They're probably 3 inches around, a 3-inch hole, approximately. Sometimes they're a little bigger, sometimes they're smaller. Around the outside of the house, if it's a dirt basement, you might see the same thing in the basement: mounds of dirt, and droppings. Much bigger than mice.
You know what? I'm going to tell a story. Can I share this story? This was really freaked out. I forgot I did see a rat. So no, I don't even know. I think it was a rat. It could have been a squirrel. I don't know, but I think it was a rat because the tail, right?
Today it'll be
The
a
tail.
rat.
Yeah.
It's a rat.
So I was going to a basement, and it's not an old house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 90s, and I'm in the basement, and I'm looking around, just seeing what they had for utilities and everything. And I see this red dot on the floor of the concrete floor. And I said to myself, then I saw a drop come. It dropped. And I was like, and I look up, and there's a tile, and it was, getting thicker, and then there would be a drop. So I run upstairs, and I get the seller's grandson. And I said, you need to come down right now and you need to take that tile off. Something is dead or it's dripping blood. It was an animal that lay there and it was a long tail. And it was there for like, it was gross, but it was still
Must
fresh.
have been a smell, yeah.
Oh, it was in there.
Huh.
Yeah. So, you know, I think of like the drop ceilings.
Yes.
Mice.
Right? We think of the drop ceiling as it's covering up everything. That's like
It's a
highway
highway.
city up there.
Yes, get
Mice
rid of
and
it.
rats absolutely love drop ceilings in basements.
Oh my.
They're up there. They're secure. They feel sheltered. They can basically run from one end to the other. And
then up into your walls
Yeah.
and cause damage that you never see.
that's with rats. They, I've seen a number of houses where they come up through the basement and they start chewing holes in woodwork. They're amazing at gnawing and making openings.
One of
And
the things that Lana and I were discussing was over the last 4 or 5 years, there have been so many consumers that have purchased a home without a home inspection for one reason or another.
right.
Either they're trying to save money or they're in competition and they're looking to edge out over, make it more competitive for the seller.
yeah,
But I think like most people, when they think of a home inspection, they don't necessarily factor in bugs or rodents.
right.
But they really need to because they can do a tremendous amount of damage.
Yeah.
So have you gotten any nightmare calls from somebody that said, hey, I just bought this house and
Something's going on.
living here?
That happens. I don't think nightmare situations,
Okay,
but
that's good.
they've picked up on something. Sometimes the home inspector will see something, but the home inspector might say termites, but when I get there, it's not termites, it's carpenter ants, or it's a little bit of just a wood rot thing.
Interesting.
So
Never
it's
anybody that bought a house without an inspection and found out it was caving in on them or anything like that.
no, not.
Thank
I don't
goodness.
think so. No.
Okay. Bigger animals, possums, squirrels, foxes,
Yeah.
anything like that you get to deal with?
I don't do a lot of wildlife.
Okay.
It's mostly insects, mice, and rats. I do a little bit of squirrel work, bats sometimes.
Ooh, bats. Touchy subject here in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Super touchy subject.
Yeah.
I sold a house in Phillipston a number of years ago, and there were bats in the attic, and a family was moving in, and bats can carry rabies. And so you don't want to live in a house where there's bats because that could potentially happen. But in Massachusetts, you're not allowed to evict the bats until a certain time of year, correct?
Right, correct.
So it was this whole big thing about how we had to talk to some state representatives about getting the bats out so these people could live in the house.
Yeah, the bats, they're protected. So the only way you can get them out of a house is exclusion and like a one-way exit door that they go out. But you can only do it in May, then August, September into October. So June and July, they're raising the pups, the young ones. You can't do anything, and you can't do anything.
Let's think about that. I mean, we sell a house in November, and the people want to move in, and then they're told you can't. You have to live in this house with this bat all winter long.
Yeah. Fortunately, at that time of the year, they're dormant. But Massachusetts is very strict.
What is the protection of bats?
Well, their population is declining due to the disease. In
my old house, which I love, that I miss, every time Paul would leave for military stuff, we would get bats in the house. Never when he was home, but only when he was gone. And so I have all these fun photos and videos of me and my kids trying to get the bats out of the house with these giant things and things like that. And I can remember at one point we had called the town of, even though we lived in Orange, I had called the town of Athol Board of Health because I was friendly with them. And there was this big thing in the news about bats carrying rabies. And this Board of Health agent terrified me. And we had to catch the bat and send it in for testing, or my son was going to have to get rabies shots because it was in his room. And what she was telling us was, and I don't know if any of this is true, this is just what the Board of Health agent was saying, was like they could scratch you and you wouldn't even feel it.
Yeah.
So if you're asleep and the bat's flying around your room and it lands on you and scratches you, you could potentially get rabies that way. So here I am thinking I have to give this little kid shots.
Oh my
But
goodness.
we ended up catching it and we sent it in for testing and it came back negative. How crazy is that?
Bats having
insane.
rabies is very slim, actually.
Mhm.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you do get scratched or bit, you need to get tested. But
Yeah.
it's rare.
With the new changes with the home inspection law coming up this fall, it amazes me that there's not a checkbox of required things.
Like in New Hampshire, there is.
Oh?
Yeah. When you do an offer form in New Hampshire, you have to check off which inspections they're getting.
Oh. Is there a termite? Is there
Yes.
Is there like a pest?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's interesting that, do you do inspection like that for a house? If so,
I do basically just a general inspection,
okay.
or I do the WDI inspections for VA loans or for FHA loans, which is a more detailed report.
Yes.
But sometimes people will call, hey, can you come out and just take a look at the house? Or, we might be putting an offer on it. We just want to have you look at it, and just for general knowledge of.
Overall, it sounds like people in New England should be looking at some type of treatment or service because of being in New England.
Right.
So it's not necessarily one thing or the other, but having it looked at really could save the house in essence when you think about it, because if it's a rat, which we know there's some towns that have issues with rats.
Right.
And then it could be the termite that's destroying it. It may not be an ant that's wrecking the house, but there's some things that could happen.
A bit of damage here and there.
Yeah.
So do you, before I even go any further with that, do you see it in new construction?
Yes, actually, it's fairly common.
Why is that?
Well, when you think about new construction, oftentimes trees have been cut. The whole area has been disturbed.
Oh, got it.
So ants.
The land itself.
I've had calls that the contractors halfway through the house and there are carpenter ants everywhere because something got disturbed, and you take away their home and they'll invade your home.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it happens.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I see that a lot with ants, actually. They just get disturbed during the construction process, and
got it.
They'll move in.
Okay. That's interesting.
Do we still see very many powder post beetles here anymore?
I get a few calls a year. Usually it's old damage. It's not active.
Mm-hmm.
It happens, but it's kind of like termites. It's there, but it's not super common.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say even maybe a little less common than termites. Usually when I see it, it's, a home inspector sees the little pinholes, they mark it down, and then they want another inspection just to verify whether it's active or not.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And then there's wood boring bees.
The carpenter bees, they're very, very common. Yeah. They make, they make a hole like the size of a dime.
Holes.
It's like a drill bit.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy that they can. And then the problem with that is with carpenter bees, sometimes the woodpeckers will come after the carpenter bees to get the larvae. So it leads to even more damage.
That is funny. Remember seeing the woodpecker on the side of a house, like destroy like the corner post?
Yeah.
And it's like.
Sometimes it's an ant issue.
Oh. So right. If you see like a bird coming after it,
it's something to keep an eye on. Yeah. So, woodpeckers will also do that. To communicate with other woodpeckers. So if they're pecking, it's either a communication thing or there potentially some insects in there.
For sure. Very interesting.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think that I was going to have any questions about bugs. Like seriously. I think as a homeowner, I've taken a second thought now. When we read the seller's disclosure statement, you go to almost the second to the last page, and it says, do you treat for any pest and people get nervous when they see that. And I always say to my clients, no, that's routine maintenance is good because
it's preventative,
we have so many we're in the woods. I feel like we're still in the
Yeah.
woods.
Yeah.
So if you don't see that, then that means nobody's done any preventative even,
Right.
right? So I don't think that's anything bad. I think it's actually a positive. And some of my sellers will say, "Oh, should I tell them that I treat for mice? I get a mouse here and
Yeah.
there." I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Because then you're preventative. And of course someone's going to have a mouse. Like it's
Yeah.
And
not
you're doing
unusual.
the right thing. You're letting somebody know, like, that
Disclosure.
just to do it
Yeah.
right off of the bat, so that way you don't end up with a giant infestation.
Mm-hmm.
The preventative, the twice a year for insects, it's a great plan because it stops things before they lead to a bigger issue. And then we're looking for other things. We're looking for mice issues or rat issues or everything. So it makes a big difference in the long run.
100%.
And do you feel like the chemicals that they've started to use over the last couple of years have been more safe than what they were using previously?
Yeah, everything has changed. Everything is actually pretty mild now.
Yeah.
But it's everything we use is safe for children and pets.
Right.
And
that's great.
we just have people inside during the treatment. Once it's dry, there's no problems at all.
Yeah, that's great. Because I never thought of that, the lethal stuff that probably was put down previously.
Well,
how about ticks? Do you treat yards for ticks?
I do
for
mosquito
people?
and tick treatments as well. Yeah.
Super important here in New England.
Yeah. Ticks they're a big issue now. Well, mosquitoes too, but
they're bigger ticks? Is it a lot?
It's
exploding.
Their population has gone up.
And it amazes me because I thought ticks like water, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, not necessarily. They like the perimeter where the lawn meets the wood line, that vegetation line right there where the taller vegetation starts. That's typically where we spray is around the perimeter.
Got it.
They won't be on the short grass.
No.
They're on the edges.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes under decks and places like that where it's a little shadier.
I got bed bug stories. I've got ticks now. Oh, I'm feeling really itchy.
Do homeowners ever invite you in to treat for fleas?
I've done one this year. Last year I did 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Wow.
not as
They
much.
they peak in August usually when it's hot and humid. But the products the vets give to people for animals now is so good that years ago we did flea treatments that would just all the time.
Wow.
Like, we'd have 6 a day.
Wow.
And now it's random.
Yeah.
I did do one
interesting.
last week.
Yeah.
They're difficult to get rid of. It's usually 2 or 3 treatments.
Yeah. I was in a house once. One of my worst real estate stories was I was in a house once in the North Quabbin area, vacant, foreclosed home, no animals in the house, like nothing. Everything was gone. And I walked in and I had on a skirt and sandals. And when I went to go like into the next room, I noticed that my legs were black, like from the lower part of my calf down to my foot, completely both legs covered in fleas, like covered to the point that I didn't even want to get in my car because I didn't want them in my car coming home with me.
It was stuck
really
to your
bad.
skin?
Oh, they were just Lana, there were so many fleas.
Oh my
It
goodness.
like looked like my legs were like black moving. It was so
what did
gross.
you do? I don't think I could have handled it.
I had a t-shirt in the back of my car. I went out to the back of the house. I rubbed my legs down with the t-shirt. I left the t-shirt there.
Yes.
If anybody came upon it, this was like 10 years ago.
I would have thrown away my shoes.
I didn't go home with my sandals on because I had pets at that time and I was so worried about having it come back in my house.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's just these random
my
things.
Goodness. I got to bring a change of clothes with me all the time now. There's no way. Yeah,
between the bed bugs, everything else.
Yeah.
It's going to make you feel differently when you go into people's
You'll think
homes.
differently now.
Well, I get nervous sometimes when I have to take my shoes off. Isn't that weird? Because whatever's going to collect on your sock or on your foot, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like when you come out, you can scrape your feet down, but you can't. And I don't think the homeowner thinks of that.
Right.
I mean, it's usually homes that they don't have an issue, but I often think now. I'm thinking of that now. I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever take my shoes off again. Yeah. It's weird.
I don't. I carry little booties for my shoes.
You must have to.
But
you must have
because, for one thing, I'm doing a treatment. I can't do it with socks on.
No. Right.
So.
Right. Well, gosh, I'm glad that we did this before lunch and talked to you before I ate. Oh my, this was really an important subject for sure.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
How do people find you? Where do they find you and how do they connect with you?
They can email me. I have a Facebook page. My email is qualitypestmanagement2@gmail.com.
Great.
We'll
make sure we get that on the screen.
Page.
Yeah, we'll share.
Tell me about the Facebook page. Where is that? Look, what's the name of it?
It's Quality Pest Management.
Great. And are you available? Where's your office located?
Orange.
Orange. That's right. You were saying.
But you go all over.
I do. Mostly from Orange to this area to Lunenburg, the Route 2 corridor.
Nice.
I do a little bit in Western Mass, Greenfield, Northfield.
Good.
Nice.
Great.
And I'm licensed in New Hampshire, so I do New Ipswich. I have a few accounts, Hinsdale, Winchester, just southern New Hampshire. But
so that's important for people to know. Pest inspectors all have to be licensed?
Yes.
Okay, that's super important. I didn't realize that.
No, I didn't either. I thought you could just be a pest person.
No, it's all licensed. The state, I have to get recertified every 3 years, classes and credits, and so.
Is it a dying breed, or is there a lot of people? Is there a lot of companies?
Small companies are a dying breed for sure. They're being bought by bigger companies.
Got it.
So there's not a lot of mom and pop places. I worked for a big company right here in Fitchburg for 18 years. Then they were bought by a big corporate company that was when I decided to go out on my own. So
That's smart.
Yeah.
As somebody that went out on their own, just flipping gears real quick to the business side of things, what's been the hardest part as being self-employed as a solo business owner?
Well, I think the biggest thing is handling, because I handle everything myself, office, phone calls. So my phone calls all day. I'm in the field trying to return calls, catch up with people.
And
It's
then,
tough.
and then you have to worry about marketing. And then you have to worry about bookkeeping. And
So I wear all the hats there. So it's a lot to keep up with. You work 8 or 10 hours and then go home and it's another 2 hours of paperwork and invoicing and scheduling. And so
100%. Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
I think that's, the interesting part of all of this for me is just seeing the same pain points, even though we're in kind of different industries, the same pain points that we all have, because it all does come together.
Yeah.
But we offer a service and there's a reason why you do it and you love to give a good service.
Yeah.
So,
I love to solve the problems that people are having. And my favorite calls are, we've had 3 pest control companies out here and we still have ants or something.
Yeah.
What can you do? I'm like, all right, this is a challenge. So I love those.
Oh, I know. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good for people to know that, for sure, because you're not all the same.
No.
I feel like when my clients ask me, who should I call? And I'm like, I don't really know. I think they're all the same. Like,
but they're not. Now
they're
we know.
not. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So now I have
And a lot of the bigger companies, even with their regular customers, they send a different technician every time. So they don't really know the house as well. People like the same person.
Yes.
They know the house, they know the issues, they know I've had a problem here or there, they know where to focus. And, people will, with a small company, they'll say, all right, here's the key, you can go in, do what you need to do. And
100%.
So it's.
Yeah, it is a dying. I love that you brought that up because it's like a lot of the people say, well, this is my handyman, this is my plumber, this is my this. They know my house.
Right.
Well, just like your service, you wouldn't be able to get that in the bigger company.
No, you don't.
And call, my service people are this because they know my house.
Yeah,
and that's wonderful.
And a lot of the bigger companies, it's a cookie cutter plan. You do an initial service, then they say, okay, we're only doing a quarterly. We come out every 3 months. People might not need that, so with insects, unless it's a log home or post and beam. Twice a year is usually good for insects.
Got it.
So, I just cater it to what they need. I have people that say, I just want you to come once a year in the spring, do a spray, and I'll guarantee that for 60 days or 90 days or whatever. But that's all they want. So if you want just one spray a year, that's,
So you don't try to oversell.
No, just what people want.
I love it. Love it.
thank you so much for being our guest today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having
me. And keep the fun photos coming on social
Okay,
media.
I will.
I think, that helps remind people that they have to take care of their investment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you can find me, Lana Kopsala, at Coldwell Banker in Leominster. And Sara, where do we find you?
So I'm in the North Quabbin region with the hometown team at Real Broker. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. And please let us know if there's any guests that you would like us or topic you want us to talk about. And also anything local events, maybe something that's coming up in the spring, summer, fall that we could, share with everyone else. Happy to, talk about it and bring them on our show. So please subscribe and thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.